Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 31 Spiritual Ability. Su Yuxing's expectations were naturally in vain. The Great Transformation Demon corresponds to the innate Great Master, so he can see it whenever he wants. What appeared before his eyes today was still a little demon. Tongji Realm Little Demon. The macaque in the mountains has become a spirit, cruel and easy to kill. It likes to hide in the trees, and it only smashes the heads of passers-by to suck the brains. It is said that more than 1,000 people were killed. What was different from the past was that when Su Yuxing saw the macaque was lying on his back on a stone platform with his limbs bound and his chest had been disemboweled. In the cell besides Su Yuxing and the prison official, there was also a tall and thin old man with oddly long fingers. When the little official who led the way saw the old man, he respectfully called out, "Old Shui." The old man nodded slightly, then glanced at Su Yuxing, and asked casually, "Newcomer?" "Yes, tell him not to make any movement for a while, and to vomit if he wants to." "Okay," the leading officer responded, and then whispered to Su Yuxing, "This is the senior of our town's prison secretary, who is good at dispelling demons and dissecting demons. What you have to do today is to watch the whole dissection of the macaque essence, and give Mr. Shui a hand." Quote. Su Yuxing looked at the old man surnamed Shui in front of him, and saw that he was actually a master of transformation. This person had hundreds of odd-shaped knives in his hand. Facing the macaque spirit, he was very much like the surgeons in his previous life who were standing in front of the operating table and preparing to operate. Wuxia is a department specially set up by the prison division of Kanai Town, specialized in dissecting monsters. After all, many parts of monsters are valuable training materials for practitioners. Moreover, some devils will practice the secret method of feigning death. After death, they have to ask the torturer to conduct a comprehensive autopsy before they can take away the corpse. During the conversation between Su Yuxing and the little official, the old man on the stone platform was already moving his hands like flying, quickly dissecting the macaque. Su Yuxing was afraid that the macaque would die, so he hastily extracted a little of his true energy and infiltrated it to complete the collection of the Sutra of Sin and Prison. Bucket. On the stone platform, the old man surnamed Shui suddenly spoke. Su Yuxing understood, and immediately placed several wooden barrels under the stone platform to catch the dripping macaque blood. The seventh knife in the third row, second column. The old man surnamed Shui spoke again. Su Yuxing hurriedly found the corresponding knife from the hundreds of scalpels and handed it to the old man. Seeing that Su Yuxing was walking very fast, the small official of the town prison department smiled and quietly left without disturbing him. In the following time, Su Yuxing kept helping the old man surnamed Shui. If he wants a knife, he gets a knife. If he wants a bucket, he hands him a bucket. I kept watching the tortured macaque spirit, from the initial rage, resentment, to pain, fear, and finally died in endless despair. The whole process lasted for 3 full hours. A thin layer of sweat oozes from the forehead of the old man surnamed Shui. Obviously, the whole dissection process is not a small consumption for a master of metamorphosis like him. After all, monsters have very strong skin and flesh, and in many places, they cannot be cut with the benefit of a knife alone without the use of true qi. Su Yuxing, the congealing pulse second stage on the bright side, was naturally out of breath and sweating profusely. Old man Shui took out a pot of hot tea out of nowhere, put it in his hand and drank it slowly, looked at Su Yuxing's appearance, and said with a smile, "You are not bad, you are smarter than the previous few newcomers. Are you interested in going to work and follow the old man?" Quote. Su Yuxing felt hee in his heart. It's not enough for you to ask me to give you a big innate great master, and you want to hire it for a long time. Old man, your face is really big. However, he naturally showed, surprised and ecstatic, on his face, and it couldn't be better to even say it. Seeing Su Yuxing's reaction, old man Shui showed a satisfied expression of, children can be taught. Then he went out to greet someone to come in to clean up, carried the knives and teapot, and staggered away. At this time, the whole macaque spirit had already been dissected into thousands of pieces by old man Shui. The whole body, from fur to flesh and blood, and even the feces in the intestines, are used to the fullest, and nothing is wasted. Su Yuxing couldn't help sighing. Peoding Geniu, that's all. As soon as the macaque spirit died, the page belonging to the macaque spirit that had just been included in the Sin and Prison Sutra disappeared, leaving 2 chances for a lucky draw. Yes, twice. Su Yuxing pondering. The old man Shui killed the macaque spirit, and he helped to kill him. Is it an assist to kill? That's about it. Of course, he was not in a hurry to draw the lottery right now, and first said goodbye to the little official who led the way. The little official told him that old man Shui was quite satisfied with him, and gave him a first-class evaluation in this assessment. It was only then that Su Yuxing found out that the prison officer's entrance examination actually included grades. Go back to the 2nd floor of the dungeon, your own residence. Su Yuxing couldn't wait to open the Sin and Prison Classic. After the death of the prisoner, there are many lottery draws, and it is the first time to commit a crime. I don't know what to get out of it. Is there a lottery? Yes. Accompanied by Su Yuxing's order, a few scattered light clusters appeared on the Sin and Prison Sutra. Compared with the previous lottery, the number of light groups is much less. The largest light group was drawn by Su Yuxing. In an instant, countless memory images flooded into Su Yuxing's mind. In the picture, he was originally a macaque in the mountains. I don't like peaches and plums, but I like to eat brains. At the beginning, I just caught some birds and so on, knocking on the brain and sucking the marrow. Later, my physique improved, and I started to catch hares, wild deer. Then there are jackals, and even tigers and leopards. Finally, there is the brain of a living person. After eating too much brain, his wisdom and strength have greatly increased, and he has a supernatural power, and he can see the brain from a distance. In the eyes of him, the brains of different people and things also have different shapes and different colors. Ordinary mountain beast brains are black and gray, and have the worst taste, followed by living people, which are white and sweet. The most delicious is the practitioner's brain, or yellow or red or purple, sucking it like drinking oasis. After all the pictures disappeared, Su Yuxing opened his eyes and smacked his lips subconsciously. In the next second, he spat a few times in extreme disgust. Look at the harvest again. Supernatural powers. Spiritual eyes, 7th grade, the 1st floor, 23/100. Su Yuxing was stunned. Supernatural powers. After killing the macaque demon, he actually obtained a supernatural power. The name of the supernatural power, Lingmu. Although there are only 7 ranks, the supernatural powers are supernatural powers after all. It is a God-given miraculous talent with various incredible effects. According to Su Yuxing's knowledge, many martial arts are created by observing supernatural powers. The best example is what he is currently practicing, the 3rd rank, the golden body of the Balrog. It was created by the people of power who viewed the ancient magic powers of the Balrog. Only, this supernatural power level is too low, there is only one level. The only effect is to observe the brain through the skull. I'm not a brain-eating maniac, so it's okay to see what other people's brains are doing. Quote. Su Yuxing shook his head, and immediately took out the tens of thousands of experience points he had accumulated these days, preparing to improve this supernatural power. Chapter 32. The experience value is added to the spiritual ability. Su Yuxing immediately felt that his own eyes were wrapped in a cool breath. And this kind of coolness is gradually improving with the continuous upgrading of the spiritual eye. Then, countless grotesque and beautiful images passed by like a revolving lantern. In the dark, there is a feeling like a clear spring flowing into Su Yuxing's heart. When Su Yuxing opened his eyes again, a pair of pupils seemed to have double pupils looming, shining with many lights of wisdom. One-level observation of the brain. The root of wisdom can be identified by the color of the brain, and one can explore people's wisdom. On the 2nd floor, you can see the heart and character. A person with a righteous heart has a beautiful heart, a person with an unrighteous heart has an ugly heart. The 3rd level looks at the soul. If the soul is strong, the lifespan will be long, and if the soul is weak, the lifespan will be short. The 4 levels of viewing fate can be used to see the personality of a person. Observing luck on the 5 levels, you can see the luck of people. 6 floors are impressive. It's a pity that Su Yuxing's experience points are exhausted, and his spiritual powers stop at the 5th floor. To advance to the 6th floor, a full 1 million experience points are required. Far surpasses any martial arts cultivation technique in Su Yuxing. Hundreds of thousands of experience points have only raised 4 layers of realm, and this is just a 7th rank magical power. Improving supernatural powers would cost too much experience. Su Yuxing couldn't help sighing, suddenly. No, it's no longer a 7th rank magical power. Su Yuxing suddenly discovered that the original, spiritual eyes and supernatural powers, had changed to 2nd rank at some point in time. What he has now is 2nd rank spiritual power. Su Yuxing was stunned. It turns out that it is not the realm that improves the supernatural power, but the grade. This is unbelievable. Su Yuxing was confused, so he added a 2nd rank supernatural power. Even higher than the Balrog Golden Body, 1st rank. 2nd rank supernatural powers, what kind of magical effects can they have? Try. Su Yuxing immediately walked out of the residence and walked towards Renzihao prison. If you want to test the effect of spiritual powers, you will naturally have to find someone to try. But when Su Yuxing came to the prisoner's rest area of Renzihao, he unexpectedly found that there was no one in the room. Where did you go? Su Yuxing was puzzled, but it was not easy to bother her colleagues at their residence. After thinking about it, he simply walked towards the cell. Prisoners are human beings, so they can be used for experiments. Su Yuxing quickly went to prison number 1, where the red-haired old devil was. Across the colorless and invisible circle of restrictions, the red-haired old devil could be seen sitting in the prison, motionless. Shu Shi heard movement outside the door, and the red-haired old devil slowly raised his head towards Su Yuxing, staring at him with empty eye sockets, quite scary. Su Yuxing didn't pay any attention to it, and only focused on displaying his supernatural powers. Look at the brain first. In the eyes of the red-haired old devil, a yellow light immediately appeared on the bald Mediterranean forehead. He has a yellow brain and a lot of wisdom. The brain color of ordinary people is gray or pure white, and the stronger the wisdom root, the darker the brain color. The red-haired old devil can practice to half-step innate, and his wisdom is not beyond ordinary people. Take another look. The chest of the red-haired old devil gradually turned transparent, revealing a throbbing heart. Man, it's even more amazing than X-rays. I saw that the heart was ugly, like a crooked old tree root. In fact, this heart is not really a red-haired heart, but a pinkson, manifested with the power of supernatural powers to see its character through spiritual eyes and supernatural powers. If you cut the red hair open and cut out the lungs and heart on the spot, you will find there is no difference between a red-haired heart and an ordinary person's heart. 3 View soul. The soul fire is blazing. It looks like there are decades to live. Su Yuxing judged. After all, he is an old demon of the 9th stage half-step innate, and even though he looks like he is about to die on the outside, he is still full of vitality and has a considerable lifespan. Of course, if he continues to be imprisoned in the Sky Prison and served with various criminal laws every day, the decades of time will inevitably be greatly shortened. 4 Observations of life. This fate represents a person's fate. Everyone has a fate, good or bad. For example, the most common among ordinary people is the fate of great wealth and great honor, the fate of a lifetime of poverty, the fate of 3 generations of extinct families, the fate of being born noble. Fate is determined by God, but it can also be changed by fortune. Su Yuxing glanced at the red-haired old devil. The red-haired old devil's fate is fierce and expensive. It is fully in line with his identity as an old devil of the Devil Dao 7 schools of fame. 5 Views luck. Luck is luck. Ordinary people's luck is just a single breath, the most common white qi, the red aura of wealth, the cyan official aura, the golden or purple imperial aura. If the luck is strong, this gas can be concretized into various shapes and things. For example, the red-haired old devil, his luck is a red fire python, ferocious and terrifying. But he was bound by chains, unable to move. And there is a sword hanging above the chain. It represents the status quo of the prisoner who is now in jail, unable to get out of trouble, and there will be a disaster of weapons at any time, and the beheaded prisoner. After some operations, the red-haired old devil was seen through by Su Yuxing from the inside out. Su Yuxing also has a deeper understanding of spiritual powers. Immediately afterwards, he went to see the master Liansheng in the number 2 cell, and Yan Huan in the number 3 cell. It is mutually confirmed with the guesses and thoughts in my heart, and I have gained a lot. It is worth mentioning that, when Su Yuxing watched the heart of old devil Yan Huan, he found that old devil Yan Huan's heart was surprisingly ugly. It's dark and ugly, but it's also riddled with holes, poisonous water dripping, maggots growing inside and out, and the stench is overwhelming. It can no longer be described as ugly, it is simply nausea. Su Yuxing can be regarded as knowing what kind of heart this guy hides under his dignified appearance. The key point is that the old devil greeted Su Yuxing with a smile when Su Yuxing showed him his mind. Little friend, come in and play. Play with your mother. Su Yuxing resisted the urge to gag, flicked his sleeves and hurried away. When they got to cell number 4, Su Yuxing accidentally discovered that Lao Huang and another jailer from the Renzi prison were there, as well as several officials from the town prison. He remembered that number 4 prison was closed by a demon named Gui Tun in Gui Dao Wan Gui Cave. Could something have happened? Su Yuxing was puzzled and hurried up to ask. Number 4 seems to be dying soon, ask the prison chief to have a look. Lao Huang explained to Su Yuxing in a low voice. It is normal for prisoners in prison to suffer sudden illness, serious injury, or even die of old age. Even the vicious old devil has a day when his life energy is exhausted. Su Yuxing took a look inside cell number 4, and saw that the 2 prison officials were checking the ghost Taoist. Step out. The mind is exhausted, the body is corrupt, and time is numbered. An official of the prison department made a judgment, and then told Lao Huang and others, be careful these days. If someone dies, report it in time. Yes, Lao Huang and the 2 agreed. Su Yuxing took the opportunity to take a look at the prison with his spiritual power when the 2 prison officials came out. I don't know if I don't read it, after reading it. In Su Yuxing's heart, he let out a little surprise. He saw that the ghost swallowed Taoist, the outer soul fire was dim, but the inner soul seed was burning, blazing and bright. It doesn't look like he is exhausted physically and mentally, and is about to die. Chapter 33. Ghost swallow Taoist soul seed is stronger than the sum of the red-haired Yan Huan and others in the previous cells that Su Yuxing has seen. With the blessing of such a soul, even if the body is necrotic, it is no problem to live for a few more years. Unfortunately, the warden judged that Gui Tun's time was numbered. What does this mean? This shows that this guy, Ghost Tun, is doing something secretly, and he is going to do something. Su Yuxing's heart was clear, but he didn't say anything. If Gui Tun doesn't do anything, it's fine, stay in the sky prison. Su Yuxing has nothing to do with him, he can only wait patiently for him to die. But if you want to do something, you want to practice the method of feigning death. Just right, Su Yuxing can take this opportunity to clean him up without anyone noticing. Let's go, let's have one less prisoner and we can do less things. When the cell door was closed again, Lao Huang called Su Yuxing and the 2 to leave. Su Yuxing used his spiritual powers to observe Lao Huang's fate and luck, and found that Lao Huang's luck was white with a touch of green. This is the performance of official luck. It seems that Lao Huang still has a chance to be promoted in the future. Then he looked at the fate of another prison guard walking beside Lao Huang. His expression was startled. This person has the appearance of violent death. The jailer's name is Zhang Fang, and he is 37 this year, in his prime. On weekdays, he is reticent, but he is down to earth, and he is quite diligent in martial Dao, which is already body tempering 8th stage. If he stayed on the 2nd floor step by step, he might be able to break his pulse in his lifetime and be on duty in the prison department. I never thought that I would die unexpectedly. Su Yuxing wanted to chat with Zhang Fang to find out about his recent situation. But the 2 didn't know each other well. After Zhang Fang went back to the cell, he went to practice martial arts by himself, and Su Yuxing didn't have the chance. Even after thinking about it, pay more attention to this person in the future, and if you have the opportunity, help him if you can. After using the supernatural power several times, Su Yuxing only felt his eyes sore and tears flowed down his face. And there is a slight sense of weakness in the body and mind. Only then did he realize that this supernatural power is not so easy to perform. You must know that he is the innate great master now. Xiao Su, you are not feeling well, you should go back to rest early, you are not on duty today. Lao Huang saw that Su Yuxing's face was not right, so he took the initiative to say a few words of concern. Before Su Yuxing could reply, a voice came from the door. Uncomfortable. Who is uncomfortable? I will go to Zawalo with me today, and I will make sure you are comfortable from head to toe when you come back tomorrow morning. This frivolous remark, who else could it be if not Shu Qing? Lao Huang scolded with a smile. Sooner or later, your boy will die on a woman's belly. Shu Qing grinned and retorted. You treat me as you, Huang, I'm still young, and it won't be a problem if I play for another 10 or 20 years. Ha ha. Brat. Su Yuxing listened to the bickering between the two, looked at Shu Qing who had just arrived, and, driven by curiosity, used his spiritual powers again. Result. On top of Shu Qing's head, he saw a black dragon python with scarlet eyes, hissing in fierce flames. A person who becomes like a snake and python is born noble. Among the devil Dao, black is also the most expensive. This Shu Qing. Fate is very honorable. Quote. In the room, Su Yuxing was thinking carefully while massaging his eyeballs with real essence. He had previously felt that Shu Qing was not an easy person. I never thought that the heels are so extraordinary. Qi becomes a dragon and python, and color dominates mystery. This is a proper noble son of the demon sect. Devil Dao is a man with a decent status. Hidden on the second floor of this small dungeon, what is the picture? Quote. Su Yuxing doesn't know, but knowing it is definitely not a good thing. But for him, it may not be bad. If it's like last time when Yan Huan was on the first floor of the prison, I might be able to use this wave of fat. Su Yuxing thought, adding Shu Qing's name to the focus list, and continued to massage his eyes slowly. This supernatural power is worthy of being called a second-rank supernatural power. Su Yuxing got a glimpse of so many secrets in a small test. If I go to the bottom of the overpass to tell fortunes to others, I think it will take a few days for the city of Yu to explode, and I will be known as the living god of the world. It's not that Su Yuxing hasn't tried to see his own luck and fate. But the person who looks at each other does not look at himself. He tried it, but he couldn't do it. Not even looking in the mirror. So let it go. Time passed like this day by day. The town prison official still came to take Su Yuxing to the third floor every day. Sometimes I stay alone with a certain monster, and sometimes I help the old man Shui who is doing the science. Su Yuxing also took advantage of the opportunity to acquire 2 more supernatural powers. One is obtained from a pangolin spirit, and its supernatural power is called Yaojia. 8 products. The effect is to harden the skin and greatly increase its own defense in a short period of time. Su Yuxing tried it once, and found that once he used this supernatural power, pieces of horny layer-like pangolin scales would grow on the surface of his body. The defense power is improved a lot. Even when he used innate true yuan, he could barely cut it open. But it looks too ugly. It's quite unattractive to turn yourself into a human being after being armored. Su Yuxing spent some experience points, and casually mentioned this supernatural power to the 5th rank, so he didn't care about it anymore. Another supernatural power was obtained from a rabbit spirit. Keepin. The name is Linger. This supernatural power is interesting. It can make Su Yuxing hear the sound from far away. It is said that this rabbit spirit did not do many crimes, and did not eat a few people. But there is a problem with Bisheng. I like to listen to people's corners. At the beginning, I just listened to ordinary people say some short things about their parents at night. Later, I got bolder and ran to the city to listen to the secrets of the rich family. Later, he was even more daring, listening to the corner of the wall and hearing about Deu Shangguo's mansion. As a result, he was captured on the spot by the masters guarding the Shangguo mansion, escorted to the prison chief, and went directly to the demon-slaying platform after beating him a few times. It's Shangguo mansion again. Su Yuxing remembers the first prisoner included in his Sin in Prison classic, the flower picker Sang Chong. It was also because the flowers were picked on Shangguo's daughter that he stumbled. I don't know how many immoral things this Shangguo has done on weekdays. He loves to recruit some ghosts and snakes. Su Yuxing was amazed. Every time Su Yuxing gets rid of the demon, he can get 2 lucky draw chances. Basically, it's 1 time to draw supernatural powers and 1 time to draw experience. Don't tell me, these monsters don't have high strength, but maybe they are very good, and the experience points they draw each time are really quite a lot. Macaque essence, pangolin essence, rabbit essence. The 3 monsters gave Su Yuxing hundreds of thousands of experience points in total. In addition to what he saved on weekdays, Su Yuxing smoothly broke through to the innate 2nd stage realm, and his strength increased a bit. On this day, Su Yuxing was alone in the room. He was half lying on the bed with his eyes half closed, tapping his knees with one hand, and his ears were moving. This is to display the spiritual ear, supernatural power. Since getting this supernatural power, Su Yuxing has to listen to it for half an hour every night. Just like a retired old man listening to the radio, it really saved him a lot of free and boring time. At this moment, this nightly pastime was in progress. Chapter 34. Partition walls have ears. They are all ears of Su Yuxing. Countless noises entered Su Yuxing's ears. Although it was the dead of night, it was more lively than the vegetable market during the day. Recalling the first time he used this supernatural power of spiritual ears, he was almost confused by countless, magic sound-filling ears. It's different now. After performing the supernatural power of the ear many times and raising the supernatural power of the ear to the 4th rank, he can already listen to what he wants to hear and not what he doesn't want to hear. Hululu, hululu, ahem. This is the sound of snoring and coughing of prisoners in the 1st and 2nd floors of the Sky Prison. Everything. Squeak. This is the sound of snakes, insects, rats and ants crawling and looking for food in the Sky Prison. Ah, I really don't know. Dog slave, haven't you eaten yet? Work harder, haha. This is the prison guards on duty, working overtime, in the torture room in the middle of the night. The supernatural power of Linger is quite magical, and the sound he hears will automatically form a corresponding picture in Su Yuxing's mind. The above are almost all that Su Yuxing doesn't want to hear. Isolating them all, Su Yuxing began to fine-tune the radio channel. The first channel is Taoist, the ghost swallowing in number 4 prison. In the picture, Ghost Tun Taoist with 8 soul-locking nails on his head is sitting motionless on the ground with his eyes closed, his breath is hardly audible, as if he is dead. Su Yuxing listened for a while, and silently wrote it down in his heart. On the 8th day of the 1st lunar month, number 4 prison Ghost Tun Taoist did not notice any changes. Then changed the channel. This time it was Shu Qing. It was very quiet in Shu Qing's room, and there was no one there. The quilt was neatly folded on the bed, as if no one had slept in it for many days. In these eavesdropping days, 8 times out of 10, Su Yuxing could not hear where Shu Qing was. And obviously there were many times when he saw Shu Qing yawning and saying that he went into the room to sleep. On the 8th day of the 1st lunar month, Shu Qing was not in the room again. Still write it down, and then switch to the channel. This time it was Zhang Fang, the jailer whom Su Yuxing had seen to have the appearance of violent death. Zhang Fang was diligent, and in the middle of the night, he was still in the room wiping his whole body with hot red iron sand, doing the body tempering method. The iron sand was grinding on the skin, making a small sound, but Zhang Fang did not change his face, which really made Su Yuxing admire. After listening for a while, Su Yuxing got bored, so Su Yuxing withdrew. Listen to all 3 focused objects, and then listen to what the prisoners in other cells are doing one by one. After completing these routines, Su Yuxing expanded the scope of the channel. Expand to the 3rd floor of the Sky Prison. Then quickly skipped over and went directly to the 4th floor. The prisoners on the 3rd floor are demon criminals. Su Yuxing heard it a few times before, and for a moment, he seemed to be in a zoo. The sounds in his ears were all kinds of animals screaming one after another. A demon is worthy of being a demon. Even a little demon who has just joined body tempering can snore 10 times louder than a human. And the 3rd floor is really nothing to listen to. Those demon criminals, although they have opened up their spiritual wisdom, they have become demons. But the temper of most beasts is hard to change. They either grind their teeth or fart at night, which is extremely noisy. Compared with the 3rd floor, the 4th floor is much quieter. It is like a strange long beep sounding from time to time. The sound was very weird, like a cow mooing, or like a lion roaring, a tiger roaring, a bear roaring, a wolf howling. In short, it is different from any animal or monster's cry that Su Yuxing has ever heard. And every time the sound sounds, there will be waves of slight vibrations. Su Yuxing found a prison cell following the sound. The cell door was closed tightly, and restrictions were densely printed on the cell door. The first few times Su Yuxing wanted to listen to the movement in the cell, but every time he was blocked by the magic circle. This time he raised his spiritual ear supernatural power to the 4th rank, so he wanted to try again. Move your ears slightly to adjust the sound wave frequency. Gradually, Su Yuxing seeped through the magic circle. The 4th rank has supernatural powers and can already pass through the soundproof circle of the 4-story dungeon. It's just that it's still not very clear, the sound and picture coming back are intermittent. Fortunately, Su Yuxing could see clearly what the prisoners in the cell looked like. That turned out to be a dragon. Except for the long horn on the top of the head, the figure is slightly smaller, and the rest is exactly the same as the image of the dragon described in the storybook. Black scales all over the body, crocodile mouth and snake body. This is a black dragon. The whole body of this black dragon is bound by countless magic chains, and there are also nails several feet long that run through the 4 claws. There is also a magic circle flickering above the head, and the punishment of thunder and fire falls from time to time. In this situation, the black dragon moved up from time to time, let out a long cry full of pain and anger, dragged a movement technique chain spike, and the restriction circle around it rattled. The ground connecting the magic chain also vibrated. Su Yuxing was greatly shocked. Who would have thought? There is actually a black dragon imprisoned on the 4th floor of the prison. The dragons are noble, even the flood dragons are considered nobles among the monster clan. There is something about Dayu Demon Slayer, even the black dragon dares to catch it back. Su Yuxing couldn't help being amazed. He stared at the black dragon and listened, for a while, until someone's voice came from the tunnel, and then he backed out. The person who came was wearing the official uniform of the prison officer. He was tall, with a white face and beardless. It seemed that his position was not low. The person walked outside the cell where Hailong was held, paused for a while, then walked straight forward again. Su Yuxing curiously followed behind. After following for a while, I saw the prison officer stopping in a cell not far from Hailong's cell. Used the lock key to open the prison door, and then walked in quickly. Su Yuxing naturally followed. In the cell, the prison officer walked up to a gray-haired, handsome middle-aged prisoner, and took out a small porcelain bottle from his arms. Then pour out a medicine pill the size of a pigeon egg from the porcelain bottle and hand it to the other party. The latter took it and threw it into his mouth casually. Good guy. The chief of the prison guard has an affair with a 4th-tier felon. Su Yuxing was shocked when he saw this. This is no small matter. 4 layers of felony, the lowest is an 8 Grandmaster realm powerhouse. It is obviously not the first time that an official of the town prison department has an affair with him, and it is obviously not the first time to see one delivering medicine and the other taking medicine skillfully. Is this to help the other party escape from prison? Su Yuxing wanted to hear what the two were plotting. But he never thought that after the prisoner ate the medicine pill, the figures of the prisoner and the prison officer disappeared in front of his eyes. Su Yuxing was taken aback for a moment, before realizing it immediately. This must be because the other party has set up a tighter soundproof circle, so that the spiritual ear and supernatural powers can't hear it. Subconsciously, Su Yuxing wanted to raise his spiritual ear supernatural power to 1st rank. But on second thought, even if I hear their plan clearly, what can I do? Can I still report it to the prison chief? It's better to save this experience to improve your strength. If the 4th-tier felon intends to escape from prison, Su Yuxing doesn't know whether his current strength is enough to protect himself. Chapter 35. Su Yuxing, retired, out of the cell, wrote down the cell number of Jia San, and withdrew the linger supernatural power. He paced back and forth in the room, thinking about how he should deal with this matter. For a moment, Su Yuxing began to miss the time when he was a little jailer on the 1st floor of the prison. Although his strength is low and he goes with the flow, sometimes ignorance and fearlessness are also a very happy thing. The strength and magical powers have increased, and the more secrets learned, the people are also tired from life. Is this the so-called greater ability comes greater responsibility? Su Yuxing smiled wryly, and then spat again. Responsibility for bullshit. Even if the sky prison collapses, there are plenty of tall people in Dayu to bear it, so it's my turn to do it. The Dayu Heavenly Prison imprisoned all kinds of monsters and felons, and it can still stand for hundreds of years. Naturally, there is a foundation. What am I going to worry about? Quote, there is always a solution to a problem. Muddy Shui took the opportunity to touch it, and Qing Shui shrank back to a corner and cuddled honestly. As long as troubles don't take the initiative to find me, why should I bother? Quote, thinking of this, Su Yuxing suddenly felt a bright light in front of him. He obviously can be invincible as long as he hangs on, why should he take the initiative to meddle with those who are not? Thinking of this, Su Yuxing immediately tore up the list of key concerns in his heart. Roll over to bed and sleep. Oh no. Before going to bed, listen to the nightlife of a wave of Yujing big households. I will never monitor the sky prison again. Boring. After this evening listening, Su Yuxing's life became simple and pure again. He is on duty during the day, and in the afternoon, he will go down to the third floor for assessment with the small official of the town's prison secretary. Continue to listen at night. But the target range of night listening is basically placed outside the sky prison. Only occasionally when the interest comes, I will go to the fourth floor to see the black dragon in the number 1 prison, and see the middle-aged man in the number 3 prison, old handsome guy. Of course, just watch, as a quiet audience. Sometimes when he is not on duty, Su Yuxing will also leave the prison and go to Yujing City. The guards on the second floor have 4 days off every month, and they are even allowed to live outside after they are released from the yamen on weekdays. Su Yuxing used to think it was too troublesome to go through 3 or 4 physical examinations before going in and out, and at the beginning, he was concerned about the prison, and he was devoted to the use of sin and prison scripture to collect prisoners, and he rarely left the prison. Speaking of which, in the eyes of other jailers, Su Yuxing is also considered an outlier. 17 or 18 years old, blood Chi Fenggang's age, he doesn't go to the barn, he doesn't enter the brothel, he doesn't want women, and he likes to stay in the dark prison with the prisoners every day. He is really a strange person. Su Yuxing realized this, and immediately began to make amends, intending to slowly change his image in the eyes of others. Although he has never been to the first floor of the heavenly prison, and the number of prisoners included in the Sin Prison book is decreasing day by day, but fortunately there are 3 levels of monsters to supplement Su Yuxing's daily experience point gain is still stable at around 20,000 experience points. Sometimes when a prisoner is beheaded by a demon, he will get a chance to draw a lottery and get an extra income. And these experience points were all invested by Su Yuxing to improve his strength. Cultivation technique and supernatural powers are not added for the time being. Unknowingly, Su Yuxing went up 2 levels in a row, raising his strength to innate 4th stage. The true essence vortex in Dantian grew several times, and the tendency of the true essence in the center of the vortex to solidify became more obvious. Clatter, bang bang, under the clear night sky, countless beautiful fireworks bloom. Vermilion Bird Street, the busiest street in Yujing City, is full of traffic and crowds, and there are joyful Yujing people carrying lanterns everywhere. Su Yuxing stood in the corner of the crowd, looking up at the night sky. In the clear eyes, fireworks are reflected. A fair-skinned, pretty girl in light yellow sleeves held a lantern, walked up to Su Yuxing with red cheeks, and gently tugged at his sleeves. Su Yuxing lowered his head in surprise, and the two stood talking for a while. The latter's cheeks became more and more red, and soon he crawled to the base of his ears, stuffed a note into Su Yuxing's hand, covered his face and left in a hurry. I was so ashamed that I even forgot to take the lantern. Plum blossom snow, pear blossom moon. Wulong mountain, covered by clouds. Quote. Su Yuxing gently read the 12 beautiful characters on the note, and then looked at the direction in which the girl left. The crowd is bustling, where can I see people again? With a knowing smile, he carefully put the note into his sleeve. Today is Dao's Shangyuan festival, and the city is full of fireworks. Su Yuxing thought of coming out to join in the fun. I never thought that I would still meet a passerby girl who offered to send love poems. The predecessor is also a person who has read books for several years. Just now that girl ran up, whispered the words, Yulan Yueying, to him, and then forced him this note. Yulan Yueying is a famous landscape in Yujing. Yulan Lake, where you can see the shadow of the moon, is one of the favorite rendezvous places for countless talented men and beauties in Yujing City. And the girl stuffed him the 12 words written on the note. In fact, it is an unfinished short poem. There are still 3 characters on the back that have not been written. Plum blossom snow, pear blossom moon. Wulong mountain, covered by clouds. Most lovesick. Quote. How could Su Yuxing not understand such kindness? This is a clear invitation to invite him to Yulan Lake for a date. Can come up with such a cultured and romantic way of confession, this girl is probably a lady of everyone. It is said that women in Yujing are bold, open-minded, daring to love and hate, and today I have seen it. Quote. Su Yuxing looked up at the fireworks that were still going off above his head, and couldn't help sighing. I was in the sky prison all day before, how many beautiful scenery I missed. The decision to relax and get out of the sky prison is really right. Otherwise, I would never have seen such a lovely scene, and such a lovely person. An 18-year-old handsome boy. It's time to enjoy the delicious food and beautiful scenery, and fall in love to the fullest. Beauty is invited, shall we go? Of course go. With Su Yuxing's current strength, even if he finds out that he was tricked into getting here when he gets to the place, he is not afraid. Immediately, I walked to a small stall by the road and bought a few puppet dolls with unique shapes. Carrying the lantern left by the girl and tidying up her clothes, she rushed to Yulin Lake. But he never thought that Su Yuxing stopped suddenly when he walked halfway. Standing on the street, Su Yuxing looked at the lanterns and dolls in his hands, thought about it, and finally sighed. It's too late to come here. After finishing speaking, he turned around and hurried towards the prison. Just now, the Sutra of Sin and Prison, in his mind changed. After investigation, it was found that the ghost swallowed the page of Taoist. There is a problem. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.